Hi everybody. Today we are making my favorite hot fudge sauce. Now hot fudge is a little bit different than a ganache, which is just chocolate and cream melted together. But with hot fudge you want to get that shine and that ooey gooey texture that you want in hot fudge, so we have to add a few extra things. So all we need, and it's probably things that you already have in your pantry, our ingredients are going to be unsweetened chocolate, and this comes in a 4-ounce box in your grocery store. That's what you need for this recipe. So unsweetened chocolate, some butter, sugar, water, salt, vanilla, and a little bit of corn syrup. And remember that you can get this recipe on the website noboneslife.com. You can download it and print it. It'll have all of the measurements and the ingredients there. So we're just going to take this over to the stove. I'm going to show you how easy it is to throw it together, what it looks like in the different stages, and exactly how to make it.
What, like it's hard?
Okay, we're going to start with about a 2-quart pan. We're going to put it on your smaller burner. You don't want it to get too hot. So a smaller burner on about medium heat. We're going to start with our 1/2 cup of water and 6 tablespoons of butter. And you want to bring this to a boil. So you can turn it up a little bit to start with. So you want to stir this until your butter and water, the butter's all melted, the water is just coming to a simmer. Make sure you turn it down. You don't want it on more than just a simmer. And at that point, we're going to add our 4 ounces of unsweetened chocolate, which I've chopped up just to make it melt a little bit more quickly and more evenly. So just dump that in. Now don't worry at this point, it's going to clump a little bit. You just want it to melt. It will smooth out later, so don't worry. Keeping it on medium-low so you don't burn the chocolate. When it's almost completely melted, it's okay if there's still some chunks in there. We're going to add everything else except the vanilla. So I've got 1 cup of sugar, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, and 3 tablespoons of corn syrup, light corn syrup. That's what's going to give it that nice shine and gooey texture. So you get that all in there. And at this point, you need to babysit it. You're going to mix this all together, bring it to a light simmer, and then you need to whisk it while it's simmering for 5 minutes. I don't start my 5-minute countdown until I've got it to that simmer. It's just starting to boil, bubble around the edges now, so it's almost ready to start. You just want to make sure that you're stirring it all the time, or the sides and the bottom are going to burn. Okay, so when it starts to bubble and boil a little bit like that, I'm going to turn it down to low to medium low. And when it starts bubbling like this, start your 5-minute countdown and stir it almost constantly. After our 5 minutes, we'll remove it from the heat and add our vanilla, and then let it cool down a little bit to still warm and still pourable, but not too hot, so that we can pour it in to our containers. So we've got about less than a minute to go, and this is what it'll look like. It's starting to get really thick and shiny. I've been stirring it the whole time, so it's not going to be burnt on the bottom. And that's 5 minutes. That's what it'll look like. Looks perfect. So you want to turn off the heat, remove it from the heat, and add your 2 teaspoons of vanilla. You want to do that after, otherwise you're just going to burn off all of that vanilla flavoring if you put it in before you cook it. You can really smell how different it smells after adding that vanilla. So now you just want to let it cool for about 10 minutes. So it's not so hot, but still pourable. So I'm going to come back in 10 minutes, show you what it looks like then. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. I've let the hot fudge cool down just enough so I can pour it into my jars. Now, just for the same reason that you don't want to pour hot water on your frozen windshield, you don't want to pour piping hot anything into glass jars, or you risk cracking them. If you really can't wait and you need to, get this in the jar in a hurry for some reason, you can always heat up your jars like you would when you're canning. Heat them up in hot water first and before pouring them in. So this recipe makes about 2 cups, which fits perfectly into a 2-cup or 1-pint canning jar, or 2 of the 1/2 pints, which are so cute and so perfect if you want to use it as a hostess gift. It's a quick thing that you can whip up when you get invited over for dinner somewhere. So it's cooled down just enough. I'm going to pour it into, I'm going to just put it in 1 jar. This will keep in your refrigerator for easily 2 weeks. And I like putting it in a glass jar so that when I do want to reheat it, I can just take off the lid and throw it in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time, stirring it until it's hot. It will thicken up as it cools, so you'll need to reheat it when you use it, or just use it right now. Some great things that you can use it for, obviously on a hot fudge sundae, a brownie hot fudge sundae. That's one of my favorites, a brownie with vanilla ice cream and hot fudge. Another thing you can use it for is you can make a sort of fancy dessert and get some of those pre-made cream puffs and pour this homemade hot fudge over it. Pouring homemade hot fudge over any of these things makes all the difference. You can use it to make a milkshake. You can drizzle a little bit in your coffee. You could even use it as a dip for your strawberries or pretzels, things like that. Or, you know, if you're having that midnight chocolate craving, nothing wrong with popping down to the fridge for a spoonful of this. And look how cute if you just put a little ribbon on the lid. Wouldn't you love to get this as a hostess gift? So I think you're gonna love this. Please give it a try. It's so easy and so worth it. So head on over to the website to download the recipe, noboneslife.com, and give us a thumbs up and like us on YouTube, and I'll see you next time.